I want us to now address the elephant in the room. It was obviously gonna come. It was gonna be part of the interview. KT is. I think we need to do a bomber class before we jump into this one. 3, 2, 1. Bomber class. Okay. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's Nasiphi, Zwane, founder of Sludge Underground Podcast here, and today I've got No Closure, one of the most wholesome bands in the scene, one of the raddest guys individually, and these are really cool homies, and I think it's an episode that I've been looking forward to for the longest of times. And today we're just going to be dissecting, looking at the band, where it started, how it started, some of the members, and so on. And we're going to talk about the music and everything beyond that as well. So stoked that you've tuned into the episode. And guys, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves, maybe each member of the band, and then we'll just continue from there.
What's up? I'm Kyle. I play guitar for the band.
How's it? I'm Katie, and I play bass for the band.
My name is Estian, and I do vocals.
What's up, guys? I'm John. I'm the drummer.
That is really dope, guys. Obviously, you guys are doing, the hardcore sort of stuff and also metalcore in there as well. What inspired that? Why did you guys, choose to get into that specific genre? Looking at South Africa, contextually as well. Why that genre? Why those genres specifically for you guys?
Mostly out of passion, to be honest. I think we really just I've always enjoyed the genre of music, and I'm pretty sure everyone else here grew up listening to that, being alternative kids, just listening to good old 2010 metalcore. And then also just growing up, the local scene, dude, just being influenced by bands like Facing Gallows back in their Hey Day and The Dead Will Tell, going to Thornfest and just seeing, remember that one. But I don't know if any of the other dudes want to comment on that, but it was just the milieu of where we grew up and how we grew up.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. I mean, how did you guys all come together? Was it just a friendship that sort of blossomed into the band forming? Give me a bit of the history of how this formed.
Okay, well, I'll start with Carl and I, because him and I go way back. He was my skivvy. He was my skivvy when I was in matric. He was in grade 8, and we weren't even friends back then. But we were just both independently living similar lives, into skating culture, into the same kind of music. And I'd been in and out of bands in high school and stuff, failed bands obviously, but and I think we all went through that. But I don't know, him and I just met up a couple of years out of school, after Carl had left school, and I was like, oh shit, dude, this little homie is a little replica of me. And dude, we just became best friends from there, and we've been writing music since 2018, 2017, nonstop. And the other dudes Katie, I've known just vicariously, by being in the scene. I met Katie when I was 12 at Thrasher's skate park. That's where I first met this dude. And like I said, I think it's just lives moving parallel, and then just becoming homies through going to shows and knowing the same people. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much how we all sort of came together. Katie has been in a couple of bands, and Jean as well. I am specifically, and we all used to bop to that, and we all knew that they were good.
Kind of the same way me and Esther are the package. It was Katie and Jean, so it's two packages came together, and they bring their flair and we bring ours, and it just works, and it's slowly becoming one big package, if that makes sense.
A bundle package, if you will.
No, it's absolutely brilliant how you guys came together. When I think of hardcore, I immediately think of Cape Town, because that's where you find a lot of the homies down there are into sort of the hardcore thing. You got the Talon there, you got Peasant there, really prominent sort of bands. What is the hardcore scene like in Pretoria?
I don't know. The whole scene in general at the moment seems to be thriving a lot. There's a lot of more people getting back into alternative music this side. And Pretoria has kind of been the stomping grounds for a long time. There's rad bands at the moment. Grift are doing rad things. It's popping off at the moment for sure. And I think a lot of the younger kids, we've seen a bunch of young homies at the shows, which is always super I don't know, motivating.
Yeah.
And when I say young homies, I don't mean young homies. I mean, kids are coming to these things and they're doing their thing and getting back into the heavy music.
Tyler from the Gemeente, I think he came to one of our shows, and at the time he was 19, and now he's in a band that's making waves. Even though he's in the band now, he had friends and so on that he brought to the show, and his girlfriend, and like there's the demographic wise, I think the demographic at these shows is changing, and in a very positive way. You see more people of color, more ladies are feeling comfortable at shows. And it's just like, in general, there's a positive movement within the alternative industry as a whole, or within the country, I think, or we think, at least.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful to see. I mean, the Pretoria scene seems absolutely beautiful. As Katie was saying, they're very diverse and so on. And obviously, in terms of things that have recently happened, you guys were announced for Ramfest. Shout out to you guys. That is absolutely brilliant stuff. I want to actually reference something that KT posted on Facebook because there's been a lot of noise about that. Tell me a bit about that post. Obviously, mentioning EPKs there and so on. Has there been some sort of like outcry from certain people, maybe feeling like they could have been on the lineup instead of other bands? What's going on?
I'm going to try to choose my words carefully here. So if I do say something that's out of line or my tone is incorrect, please forgive me. So at the end of the day, and I think as a band, what I really like, or what we really like about ourselves as a band and as a collective, is that we like to play to each other's strengths. And my strength is something like admin, finding out the nitty-gritty, doing things like Samro. We do Samro things. So live performances, register your live performances. But it's things like that we do. And I feel that's the strong point of mine. I saw a few comments, because obviously running a page collectively, you'll get the notification, so-and-so commented on the post. And sometimes I generally don't read them, but I've read a few that said, oh, no female headlining bands, or so-and-so should have been playing. But realistically, at the end of the day, we sent our press kit through last year, November, between October and November, we sent our press kit through to RAM. I know a few other bands did the exact same thing, because we know that festivals aren't booked overnight. And if we're going to cry about not being booked for a show yet, I think Kenny from, Doom Trigger, said you can't win a raffle if you don't buy a ticket. And he hit the nail on the head there. And that's how a lot of people, I think that's something that needs to improve with bands in general, because being in a band is more than your talent. It's more than what you can do with your instrument, rather. Sometimes you do need to sit there for an hour a week and send out emails and register your songs on Samra, Sampra, your societies and so on, to ensure first you're respected as a creative, but also you're protected. Your product is protected. Your things are protected as a collective, rather than having someone eventually abuse you, because that, unfortunately, it's a reality within creative areas that people do get taken advantage of.
And so essentially, anyone who would be under the impression, or I saw a couple of comments there, going on about how it's really about who you know and so on and so forth. It's definitely not the case, you'd say, from your guys' experience, at least.
Not from my experience, no. Obviously, these things do play a role. I mean, some people call it networking, some people call it nepotism, depending on which side of the spectrum you're on, I guess. But realistically, if you're not at the shows, if you're not present, if you're not visible, no one is going to know who you are. I think sometimes people do say it is a nepotism thing as a cop-out on their laziness.
Well said, bro. Well said. Really brilliant stuff, man. And obviously, on a more positive note of the event, though, I mean, how does it feel actually, playing in such a star-studded lineup? Amazing headliners coming through to South Africa, and you guys are essentially part of history.
Dude, it's an honor and certainly a privilege, like a long time dream that's coming to fruition for us. We've been going to Ramfest for 4 years now. So to be included is unreal, to be honest. Like, we're really honored and excited, and we feel blessed, to be honest. So I think that's pretty much it. Like, there are no words that can sort of sum up how excited and stoked we are about it.
I mean, I've been listening to The Devil Wears Prada since I was probably 11 or 12 years old, like primary school days. I was fighting with my sister about what came first, the band or the movie. And then it turned out there was a book involved. So, like, to be able to have that conversation with my sister not so long ago and being like, remember that argument we had when we were kids? Like, I get to play with that band now, and it's such an honor. Hopefully there'll be bigger shows in the future, but like, I'm totally fine if this is the one show that happens. It's going to be huge, and I'm very excited.
It's definitely the one show that I'm the most excited about. Katie and I, we played Opikopi. He played it twice. We played Cranked Up. But this one is pretty fucking surreal, to be honest. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I still can't believe when I see our band's name on the poster with The Devil Wears Prada and all that amazing bands. Even when The Devil Wears Prada shares the event page on their Instagram page, I was like, fuck it. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, all this hard work and practice is paying off. I've been playing in bands since 2012. So now in my middle 30s, it's coming to, what do you say, fruition? So fuck yeah, I'm cock excited.
I was gonna ask you guys how a band like No Closure, goes, starts from the bottom to the position that you guys are in now. But I am picking up, different things here. Obviously, the admin needs to be right. Bro, you were mentioning they haven't played since like 2012, which means that persistence needs to be a thing. Longevity needs to be a thing. You can't give up and so on. You need to keep going. What else would you guys say, goes into making a band, as successful as you guys are? Because I would definitely classify you as a successful band, having recently started. Next thing, you're on the Ramfest lineup. What else does it sort of take besides the admin and the persistence and all of that there?
So dude, I think honestly, ownership of your band in all aspects. Like, we have a pretty DIY philosophy when it comes to running this band and how we do things, and we take a lot of pride in what we do. I do all the graphic design, I do all our merch. Kyle does all the mixing and mastering, and like, everything is in-house. My fiance, Daisy Arson, she does all the video work for us. So like, everything is really in-house. Like, we don't want to give our power away. We want to make sure that we're competent in the fields that sort of surround what it means to be in a band, beyond just playing our instruments or doing our part. Like, musically, we recognize the importance of image, admin, polished sound. And that's something that if I had to speak to like young bands, it's like, teach yourself how to do these things, empower yourself with knowledge, like, figure out how to do it. There's always a chance that somebody in your band is got a creative flair. Like, follow your God-given talents. Like, God gives you talents to hint at what you should be doing in life. So that's pretty much it. Like, DIY, in-house, a lot of pride, a lot of hard work.
I think just to add to that is that, like, get along as friends, like,
100%. Also that.
It really helps a lot. Like, especially me, man. Like, I have 3 dudes that I trust dearly. Whether it's fun times or it's a hard conversation that needs to happen, all of that is so much easier to process. It's so much easier to go through when you have 3 people with you that can tell you, hey, bro, that's not okay. Or, hey, man, that was really cool what you did. Maybe let's do more of that, and bringing you out of your comfort zone, And I think that's also a very, very important thing on that side.
Carl, would you say this is what you were talking about when there was an article that I read? It was by Refilwe, and you were essentially saying, we're finally doing it our way. Would you say this is
Yeah.
essentially what it is that you were referencing?
Yeah. And I think, as soon as you find people who share the vision, that's when things kind of change. Because I don't know, being in lots of bands as well, there's always things that sometimes don't click. And one day you just get yourself into a situation where things are just easy, but not easy as in like we haven't worked hard. Like we put in the graph and we fight and we have those hard conversations. But because we all share a vision, it's all out of the passion for what we're trying to do. And we can always go back and be like, the only reason this is going on is because we all want it. And that's powerful. I think that's the most powerful thing that's been going on in my life at the moment, is realizing that when people share a vision and push it together, you'll get so much further than if you were trying to do it by yourself,
Yeah, definitely. I do want to send a shout out to Refilio because that article was very brilliant. It was in relation to your guys' debut. So if anyone does want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description. But it basically sums up the band pretty well. I mean, some of the stuff that we've touched on here does get touched on in that article. So do check it out. But I want us to now address the elephant in the room. It was obviously gonna come. It was gonna be part of the interview. KT is. I think we need to do a bomber clots before we jump into this one. 3, 2, 1. Bomber clots! Yes. Okay. So when I was up in Joburg, there was an interview that I did with Ash of Lower Hollow, and a couple of things came up there. I asked him about what happened to Lower Hollow. Obviously, a couple of the homies in this interview, you guys were part of the band, and he did not hold back in terms of some of the stuff that happened, mainly saying that it was a technical thing, mainly pointing out Esto's vocals, saying that they weren't in time with everything else and so on. And yeah, obviously you did mention that, Carl and Esto are like come as a package. And a lot of things were said in that interview. I don't need to repeat them. Anyone who watched that interview knows what was said. So what do you guys have to say? I mean, obviously it was one side of the story. I think as a neutral platform being Sludge Underground, it's always wholesome to try and get, the other side as well. So, what do you guys have to say about what was said in that episode?
I think we'll start on a light note. First of all, like, nothing but love for that band. And those are a bunch of cool homies. Like, we still hang out with them at shows. We can still talk to them and we can still play shows with them. And I think, if I could take it back to what I had just said about the vision, I think a big thing is we didn't have the same vision in that band. And that was the first issue. You can go and blame it on all these different technical issues and you can do this and that, but the foundation was wrong. It didn't start off as a band with friends. It started out as a band with like, we want to do this thing and we're going to do it this way. And there was no room to grow. There was no, I don't know. And maybe that isn't a light note. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but Ashley did always want a certain sound. And, as the one that was writing the music, it was difficult for me to kind of normally write to everyone's strengths and, but it was difficult to write to exactly what he wanted. And I think they're in a place now where, lots of the influences he would bring up was like Svalbard and stuff like that. And I think they're finally getting to realize that vision. And I'm super happy for them for that. But this is our vision. And we get to do it how we want to now. And you can go and talk shit on us if you want to about how that shit turned out. But look at what we're doing now. I mean,
Ramfest.
This shit is pretty cool. And I'm having a lot of fun. It's a lot more natural in this band than it is. But I know Esto probably has a bit to say about it as well.
Yeah, the vocal thing, Esto, dude. Would you say that was an accurate sort of depiction of what actually happened?
I don't know. I think Ashley, let me break it down in like a as nice way as I can, because I also had to wrap my head around, his hypercritical view on like how I was doing things and stuff. It's like,
yeah,
I think as for Kyle and Sean, I can't speak for Chad, but like the dudes stood behind me and they were like, dude's rad at what he does. Like in a live scenario, things go wrong. Like you'd miss a step or something like that. And it happens, dude. Like it happens still to this day with me, with Kyle, with like John, Kate. Like we all have our fuck ups. And I guess that's just part of being a musician. But I think that Ashley being the ex vocalist for Truth and Its Burden, which were like, they were like really seasoned and highly professional. I was being held to like the gold standard. And that's perfectly fine as well, dude. But I just think that maybe his criticism was a bit harsh because like I'm doing my shit, like, and it's working. At the end of the day, I think it was just like a matter of personal opinion because Carl and Sean stood by me and they believed in it. And I think that's where the big split was. He literally just didn't want to work with me. He was like, bro, you out, like you out. And the other dudes were just like, this is not it, you know, like it doesn't work like that. I guess he had felt like a lot of ownership of the band, which I would contest because, you know, we started that shit together. Carl wrote everything on the first album. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into that shit for an entire year to make a full-length debut. So I would contest the ownership, but like Carl said, dude, there's no hate.
From my side, I told both Esther and Carl, I don't need to know. I don't want to know. What we're doing now is present and future. We don't look backwards. And unfortunately, or not rather unfortunately, realistically, from an outside point of view, I still don't know the details. And I couldn't be bothered personally because I am with my collective, my homies. But I think it's very telling that there's been so many member changes since the guys have left. That would tell you something about what the atmosphere in the band is like. The band doesn't change members so often, yet 2 of my friends are being mentioned in interviews constantly still. 3 of my friends are being mentioned in interviews constantly still. I think it's something that needs to be addressed internally. I think maybe they do need to just pause for a bit and look inside and be accountable, because in any situation, there are always 2 parties. It doesn't mean there's a right and wrong. 2 things can exist at the same time.
I think what upset me personally when that episode came out is like, dude, you're beating a dead horse. Like, let the shit go. We doing our thing. We still friends. Like, we've played shows with you guys after we formed No Closure. And I mean, I love and respect Ashley, but at the end of the day, dude, I don't think what he did was right. And there's a lot of people that were involved that collectively agree. I don't want to drag his name, bro. Like, I'd rather be a better person. I don't care about drama. We swerve that shit because we've got a vision and we'd rather be friends with people than have enemies. So
yeah, you don't want to walk into a venue and think, oh, there's that guy. We want to have a
safe space, dude.
Yeah, safe space, positive venue or positive, I hate that word, vibe. But yeah, you don't want to walk into a venue and think, oh, fuck, there's that guy again.
Yeah.
We don't want that. We want to walk into a venue and think, oh, shit, that guy's here. And then you run to him, give him a hug. You see, how's your dog? How's your daughter? How's your day? You know, you want to build friendship in the scene.
100%, guys. Obviously, with Ramfest, we know what's coming up with you guys, obviously, in terms of the future of the band. Ramfest is coming up. You guys are actually playing a show today, if I'm not mistaken, one of the Emolith shows that are going on. So by the time this drops, that'll have already, have happened. But what else can we sort of expect from you guys for the rest of 2025?
So we got lots of new music that's kind of just sitting, sort of B-sides from the first EP that we are ironing out, I guess to say. So I mean, we've just got music to drop, honestly. We want to do it well, though, and we want to do it the right way. So getting videos done, visually making something that works with the sound that we're trying to go for is kind of what we're sitting on at the moment, which is very important. But, just heavier music, lighter music, everything in between. We just want to do what we like, and we're writing what we like, and it feels good. we're playing what we like and it feels good. So I guess the quick answer to that is more music and lots more fun.
No, that's absolutely brilliant, guys. I don't know if you guys want to send any shout outs before we close out the show and I get handles from you, just sort of to close off the show at all.
Halva, fucking well done, dudes. First time seeing them at the final and they whipped. What a cool band to watch. What a cool band to listen to. They are going to kill it in Germany, I'm sure. Very excited for those dudes. So huge shout out to them. Rafiwe, what a homie. She's been doing a lot for us as a band, writing the cool little articles and really getting to know us as well. I think we're all really good friends with her at the moment. Daisy Arson, Estienne's fiance, also known as Kaylee. She's like band mom. Huge shout out to her. She looks after us.
Fifth member.
She's actually the fifth member for sure. Lots of love to everyone in the scene, to everyone doing their thing at the moment.
There isn't really like a single band or a band we can single out and say, "Oh, you guys are doing good," because everyone is bringing their A game. You see, I can't. There's a lot of bands are bringing their A game. Just well done.
So I guess shout out to the whole South African music scene.
Shout out 012 as well.
Shout out 012.
Churras.
Proper guys. Where can people reach out to you guys if they want to work or want to just, catch up and, see whatever it is that you guys are busy with?
All our info should be in our bio on Instagram. We got an email there that you can hit up. I mean, you can hit us up on anything at this point, like Facebook, Instagram. We're pretty active.
Also the link tree that links through to everything with all of our information.
So everything's there if you want to check out what we do. And we'd love to work with people. So if anyone does want to do that, it would be sick.
We're proper guys. Thank you so much for just joining me and having this conversation with me. Absolutely love learning about you guys. And wish just everything of the best for you guys moving forward. And then obviously, if you do want to catch the episode, it's on our website and it's on YouTube as well. Remember to subscribe. I am at Zwane for anyone who wants to reach out. Sludge Underground on Instagram is at Sludge Underground as well. That's where we are mainly active. And guys, continue to support the scene. It's been another wholesome episode with another amazing band from South Africa. I'll catch you guys next time. It is bye for now.